Welcome back, everyone. When divorce is the only option, our next guest is there to help women make a fresh start and move forward with confidence. Please welcome back Heather Quick, head of the Quick Law Group. Heather, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for
You're
having
always
me.
this nice, calm voice in talking about things that are upsetting or scary, and I'm always appreciative of the information that you bring to the table. And today we're going to talk about a very important topic about really maybe trying to stay out of the courts and try to stay out of the trials, because that can be so stressful and expensive.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about what are the first steps that you can take to try to maybe mediate an agreement so that you can not have to go through all of that process.
Well, really when mediation one is required in practically all civil cases, but certainly in divorce, because we have couples who, especially when you have children, you're never getting rid of each other. You're always going to be have some kind of communication. And so mediation is an opportunity really for each side to compromise. And the benefit to that is having some control and input into what is ultimately going to happen in the divorce.
Mediation sounds nice. It certainly sounds much better than going to trial. So let's talk a little bit about it. I'm sure it's not a pleasant experience no matter what, but let's talk about the process and why that is hopefully a better alternative than having to go to trial.
It is. As the lawyer, you really prepare the entire case as far as the financials, the children. What we do is we really meet with our client. What are your ultimate goals? And then we use our experience, our negotiating tactics to say, okay, this is how this process is going to be, because we're going to have an independent mediator, and they're going to go from husband and his attorney to wife and her attorney, and really, translate the information back and forth, play devil's advocate. There's a lot of psychology in the process, to be honest.
So you're not sitting in the same room across a table from each other like you see in the movies?
No, that is not. That is usually, in my experience, doesn't help us settle.
So somebody's in one room, somebody's in another
Yes.
room, and then there's a mediator, and you have your attorneys.
Absolutely.
So they kind of go back and forth and say, okay, we'll offer this, what are your thoughts? And then they go back to try to get it done in a day, I guess?
It's true. Sometimes it goes on more than a day, but it's really an interesting process, and there are so many skilled mediators in the city that are really good at getting people to the middle, because we usually don't enter in a divorce thinking, okay, yeah, we're in agreement on everything. And that does happen, but that is not the norm. So everybody just needs to be, nudged forward. And so that's the process of that.
Now, if you've got a skilled mediator out there, then can you go in without an attorney and save a little money, or do you really need to have an attorney through the process?
I always advise, if you've got property and or children, anything, you need representation, because although the mediators are great, they can't give you legal advice. They're not your attorney.
Really?
That's right. They really have a lot of their own rules and regulations for mediation, and so they can't say, this is a great deal, you ought to take it. This is what a judge would do, and give you legal advice, because they're independent. They don't represent either party, and it's important to be advised. You're making a decision that's going to affect you the rest of your life and or your children's lives, and too often I see agreements after the fact. And one, it's going to be twice as expensive to fix it. And the worst is when I say, you agreed to this. I can't change it. And that is a terrible thing for me to have to tell a client. I can't help you get out of this.
So let's talk about if the mediation doesn't work. Because you said, well, if they were getting along that well, they wouldn't have needed mediation to begin with. So say they get in there and it is just one of those contentious situations, and you just cannot, or maybe agree over some things, but not maybe the more integral things like children and property.
Absolutely, and then we go to trial. And that happens, a fair amount. It's really a risk, because it's expensive, and you have a third party, a judge, who only, you've been married 15, 20 years, 8 hours. And maybe 3 days. I've had some trials that were 3 to 5 days, but really, then they're going to make a decision, and they're going to do the best job they can as a judge based on the information presented, but still, you're not necessarily going to get a part in that. And sometimes it's inevitable. We represent women, and sometimes the men just, they're like, I'm not going to pay what we feel, they need, or what that the court would order. And so they're at a situation where they don't really have an alternative but either take a really bad deal or go to trial.
And it sounds risky, kind of what you just mentioned. Sounds a little bit riskier than mediation. So in your world, would you always recommend, let's see if we can get through the mediation and try to resolve it here?
Absolutely. We really go to mediation in good faith, and we're there to come to a fair compromise. And hey, a good compromise, it feels a little uncomfortable on both sides if you really are compromising, but no one's going to compromise to their best day in court or their worst day. So we really have to meet in the middle. And we absolutely try to do that for our clients, just for peace of mind and finances, because it's stressful to go to a trial.
And I would think that, because like you said, you're not getting rid of this person, so at least moving
Yeah.
forward, you know what, we were able to resolve it in mediation. We didn't have to go through the whole trial.
Yes.
And it helps the years after be a little bit smoother.
It does, I think, and it's really, less stressful and better for your health, spirit, and everything moving forward.
Get on and
So-
go to yoga.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. That's what I say.
We run into each other at yoga, that's why I said that. All right, thanks so much,
Absolutely.
Heather. I appreciate it. We'd like to thank the Quick Law Group for sponsoring this segment. For more information on the Quick Law Groups or to get a copy of one of Heather's fabulous, informative books, please visit their website at thequicklawgroup.com. You can also give them a call at 904-203-4420.